Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Conversations with Joshua T Berglan. We're on the live. I just messed up my own intro. That's okay. We won't edit this out. I was going to say that we're on the Live Mana network, but we're not anymore. I got kicked off that network, which was my own network, and that's a long, funny story. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. This is the World's Mayor Experience. This is Conversations with Joshua T Berglan. That's the actual broadcast we're on. The World's Mayor Experience is the multimedia platform and the soon-to-be live experience in both the metaverse and also in a city near you. Yep, decree and declare. I hope that's our guest calling. Anyway, nonetheless, today is going to be awesome. We have a really neat guest who I just met on LinkedIn. Is like, when we connected, she told me she's watched my content, told me we had a similar story, and I'm like, oh boy, this could be interesting, because how much of my story do they really know? Because a lot of people say that to me, but they know a piece of it, and then I want to go, did you read my book? And like, yeesh. Anyway, which I'm always grateful to anyone who has the courage to read my book. It's not like it's some kind of crazy, insane, out of this world, untrue story. No, it's a very real story. It's just a real painful story to get through, and not painful because I'm a victim of all these things. Yes, I was a victim of some things, but that didn't excuse my behavior, nor did it excuse me not getting my crap together when I had the chance, because I know I was given multiple chances to get my crap together, to get my life together, and I just kept running. And I got to tell you, there's something about this, and I'm not a religious person as far as religion, but my faith is my faith, and it's a personal faith now, where before I used to try to shove it in people's faces and all of that, but that wasn't doing anything to bring me any peace at all. And my faith has evolved and it's changed, but the closer I get to God, the closer I get to knowing my identity, yet the further I get from God, things get really crazy fast, and I'm all over the place, and I've lost my identity, and I don't know what's up and what's down, and I'm confused, and I can't move forward confidently. And anyway, I lost the track of this, but our guest is here now. I'm so excited to introduce her to you all, because again, it's a neat story, and she's a coach and she's working with people, but there's so much substance to what she's doing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to go ahead and have her come on and say hi to everyone. I think she's jumping on. She can now join the meeting. What did I do? Did I kick her out? Oh my God. Come back. I think I just kicked out. I just kicked our guest out of, well, that'll give me time. Hopefully she comes back. Oh, there she is. I thought I kicked you out. So I'm already talking to the computer. It's so good to see you here. Hold on 2 seconds, because I have to say, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, GenoStem, the organic peptide that's absolutely changed my life. And if I know a lot of people are getting into peptides now, don't take the synthetic ones. Don't do it. Don't do it. No matter what you do, don't do it. Go to YouTube, search organic versus synthetic peptides, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Get the organic kind, 20% off. Just use the promo code MAYOR. And I'm telling you, there's a money back guarantee. I'll take this Pepsi challenge with you. Heck, you can buy the product, and if you don't like it, I mean, you can get your money back, or you can just call me and I'll buy it from you, because I love it. It's changed my life. And now I'm getting my man due back because of this too. And I feel like I'm 20 again. So without further ado, I was telling you about this amazing guest that we have. And I'm so excited because when she, as I was saying in the introduction, when we first started chatting up on LinkedIn, she says, we have a similar story. Like, ooh, that's always fun to hear from somebody. Because as I was saying in the intro, I don't really know how much of my story they know, but nonetheless, I just love that. I love meeting people that have similar stories, because it kind of helps me make sense of my life. And I don't know about you, but that's kind of part of the fun of getting to share our stories. Is it's not so much that our stories are for everyone, because God knows mine's not for everyone. I mean, the church didn't even like my story. Anyway, but truth attracts our tribe. And when we share our story and we share our heart and we share like what's going on with us, our victories, our struggles, our overcomings, when we share that, other people can see that. And when they relate to it, they go, hey, I can help you. I want to learn from you. Or, yeah, I went through that too. And then you found a friend. So it's so important. So I love when people speak up. But that said, I don't even know their story yet. So we're going to get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor for me. And I think I'm going to say her last name right. It's such a pretty last name. And she's shaking her head. No, I'm not. But Reneee Andreasen.
So close. Super close. Andreasen.
It's like, so is that Italian?
Oh, no. Actually, it's Andreasen, and it's Norwegian, and it's not my heritage. It's my ex-husband's. So I'm Brumfield, which is German originally.
Oh, very cool. So,
yeah.
Wait, are you in America?
Right yeah.
Now? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm in my van. I'm working remotely. I like to do the digital WOMAD. And I'm in this place called Edmonds Beach in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest.
Rad. So you're doing like the whole surfing thing, but not surfing, and it's cold.
It's pretty cold. I mean, I'm looking out the window and there are some people that are out there in the water with their scuba suits on. So this is a dive park. So it's, they're crazy though. Forget it. I'm not. I've done that before. I don't need to do that again.
My brother was stationed there. I don't know the exact place in Washington, but he oversaw the nuclear subs and all of that.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit familiar with that area, but I've never been there myself. I've heard it is absolutely beautiful.
It is pristinely, magically beautiful. Where are you from? Where are you calling from?
Well, where am I calling?
Or whatever.
I'm in a town called Northfield, Minnesota now. It is the smallest community I've ever lived in. I'm a big city guy, but I got to tell you, I love everything about this community. It's the busiest small town in the world. I swear, it's great. Again, I miss the gunshots, the sirens, the ambulances, the noises, the homeless people, the smell. I miss all of that. But this has about the same kind of energy. It's just in a small town. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I live in Port Townsend now. So basically, if you go to Seattle, you drive to Edmonds, you take a ferry across a large body of water, and then you drive out to the peninsula, which is where I live. So I'm surrounded by water, and it's a small town. And while we live in the state of Washington, I live in a small town, and the restaurants open when they decide to open, and the grocery stores close early, and I live in the country. So like you, I was a city girl. I thought I was a city girl. I used to work downtown when I worked in corporate America, and just through my awakening the past couple of years, the further away from all the bleeps and the blinks and the EMF things, the happier I am.
Oh boy, you just opened a door for me. There's certain words that people can say that will set off my brain and go, ooh, we can go that direction. But I'll try to keep it together for a second.
Yeah, you have to tell me what's off the table, because
oh my God, are you kidding me? Nothing at all.
Great, perfect.
Nothing is ever off the table. In fact, I have conversations that sometimes offend me, and I'm going, okay, but this is what you said you wanted, so here we go. I had last week, I had 3 interviews with people, and this never happens. Where some of the biggest issues that I have resistance to, I had guests that supported it. And I was like, and here was the other thing. I really loved my guest. I loved them. I wanted them to be my mentor. And yet some could say that they are part of the enemy. It was kind of like, And it brings up an interesting thing. And I know that this conversation's about you, but you said that we've had a similar story, so I'm just going to toss this back to you. Where did we lose the ability to not see things the same way and it not piss us off?
Do you want my opinion on this thing?
Well, I don't know whose opinion I want.
I think we were, I gotta, so where do I start with this one is, so that doesn't happen to me anymore. And we know that COVID and the whole lockdown and the veil of the lies was shown to us, right? Just like boom, all the systems fell apart. So I think people just stopped being polite at a certain point in time because everything was kind of falling apart. And so the veil came down, that was somewhere around 2019. And now we're like 2024. Oh my God, 5 years ago was when that all kind of started emerging. 2019, 2021. Whoa. So yeah, can you believe this? We're kind of like on at least 4 years into this journey of this new world where we see things now. And some of us woke up and some of us went back to sleep. And it's all fine. And so I just remember during the pandemic was when people started to really feel more comfortable speaking their truth and not caring. Everybody everywhere is really stressed out. And for a period of time, most people I met were not operating at their highest level of, self. So for me personally, though, I'm at a point where I'm in unity consciousness. I'm in unity consciousness. There's no difference between you and me. There's no separation between me and the trash can. But there's this unity consciousness grid that has emerged around our planet. And a part of our jobs on this earth is to ascend. And that doesn't mean that we leave this earth. That means that we become better humans while we're here. We're ascending in our consciousness into unity consciousness. And so what does that mean? That means that the more people move to unity and the more that people that stay in duality or polarity, the gap just becomes bigger and more obvious. And so if you're in unity consciousness, I can see the gap, and then I consciously work towards removing or closing the gap or compassion and understanding, where the other person, honestly, we don't have a gap anymore.
Oh my God. You explained it so beautifully. And you also described ascension in a
woo-woo.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say intergalactic planetary.
And all those things exist.
Make ascension sound like it's the Galactic Federation and we're going to be swept up to our alien forefathers and foremothers and give me a break. It's not that wild, but it is still wild because the veil, you're right, is lifted and lifted and lifted and lifted. And I'm like, the people that can't see it at this point, I'm like, you're doomed. Like, you've no shot. But I will tell you this, and I would like to know your opinion about this. But during the lockdown was a gift and a blessing.
I loved it.
I saw it as like, oh my God, I can work stress-free. I don't have to leave my house. I can lock myself in a closet at work and get it done. It was amazing. It was the gift. It was a gift to me because I'm set up for what's coming perfectly. But the last 3 years, also one of the roles that I thought that I had in that was being the warning sign. Don't take it because it's going to do this. And there's this and that inside of it. And when it merges with 5G, it creates this thing. And then it's the Internet of Bodies and blah, blah, blah. Like, I thought I needed to be that guy because I had read the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I've known about the Internet of Bodies for 20 years. Like, I've read all those books because I was obsessed with it when I saw the Terminator and the Running Man as a kid. Like, I believed it was real. So, like, I wanted to learn about it. But then in that trying to be the wake people up guy, the truther, and bringing people the hard truth. And yeah, this truth hurts like hell, but you got to take it anyway because truth is going to heal you. So take that up your ass. And like all this crazy stuff, right? But then got involved with the anti-trafficking movement and then found out that the people in the anti-trafficking movement are actually trafficking. And then I started to find out even more truths that weren't true at all. And that became very, very, very humbling for me, to the point that I stepped back away from everything long enough to get to this appreciation of, I don't know anything that I thought I knew, and I'm okay with it. And because now, when I hear that expression, ignorance is bliss, it makes more sense to me. It's not that I'm ignorant. It's not that I'm dumb and I'm not intelligent. It means that I have quit believing all the bullshit that I was taught to believe. Care to expand on that, Reneee?
Well, I mean, so I made a commitment like to the universe, I think 4 or 5 months ago, that my one of my best friends is Indigenous and he hosts a sweat lodge. Nice. Yeah. So I'm really lucky. I went from corporate America, doing the things, climbing the ladder, getting the promotions and pay and doing all that stuff. And then my body was, and my mind said it wasn't working anymore. And so then what do you do when, talk about the veil, when all those agreements start to no longer exist? And what I did, I spent 10 days in silence meditating, and it's this program called Vipassana. And when they didn't put your life will change in the brochure. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to meditate for 10 days and see what happens. It's like, and your life changes, and so I came out a bit unprepared. And so, I went from being in all of that, in the veil, 100% buying into everything as I was taught since the day I was born, and then acquiring all these other people's beliefs to create this accumulation of my identity, which is not my identity.
Yeah.
So I have a rip the Band-Aid off approach. So I was poised well for the whole pandemic because I had already been through a health crisis, a personal crisis. I'd built tools of resilience. I had already been building my coaching on the side to my day job. And so I was prepared. And like you, when we went through the pandemic, I was happy as a clam, but I saw that other people were suffering.
Yeah.
I'm like, these people are suffering. They don't have tools and this is all new for them. And just as you were talking, the book, The 4 Agreements, just came back to my memory. You've read it. Yeah. So it's like 101 for consciousness. You've read it, The 4 Agreements. Yeah. Everybody should just read that book. Like, don't forget all the other books. Just read that book. Okay. And then let's have a conversation about everything. And the point is, we don't know anything. We just know our experience through my universal experience and my universal belief system. Again, until we get to a place of unity consciousness. There's no separation between anything. So I spent a long time in the light, meaning I'm happy, I'm Pollyanna, I only see the good in people. And that was really important for my awakening because I was a very sponge. I was like a sponge. So anything that I hadn't, because I was so open to learn and receive, I didn't have good boundaries or barriers. And so if something bad came into my view, it was like actually painful, right? So I'm like, only the light, only the light, only the light. And then I built the system of protection. And so I cleansed my vessel, I clear my vessel. I have, I practice Ho'oponopono, I have a whole bunch of practices that I do so that I'm like, I'm solid. And so now I went to my buddy's sweat lodge and I was like, okay, universe, my request is that you show me that which I don't want to see. Show me the darkness. Show me the darkness and more. I'm ready for all of it. Oh shit. I can't believe what I'm seeing now. It's incredible. So much manipulation, domination, and control. And yeah, there's all sorts of galactic stuff happening. Always has been, right? And so now it's interesting. It doesn't scare me as much. I have curiosity. instead of disgust. Well, I mean, stuff is pretty gross, you know. And then now I'm pretty passionate about. So as much as there's domination and manipulation and control, which is we are controlled through guilt, shame, and blame. So that guilt, shame, blame. Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong. Guilt, shame. That leads to domination, manipulation, and control. So that's one side of the, you know, the yin and the yang. And then there's, I'm 100% accountable and responsible for everything that happens to me in my life. 100% accountable and responsible. So they all exist equally all the time. It just depends on which part of the universe we decide to be in for ourselves and then for the greater good. So I'm really enjoying learning about all the manipulation and domination and control that exists and always has. And now I see it, and it's validated by science. It's validated by the government. And so now the question is, well, what do I do with that information, knowing? And so I'm going to the cause of sovereignty, liberation, and freedom financially for all people. Everybody has a place to live. Everybody has a place to sleep. Everybody has free speech. We can take different sides. We could be in polarity, like black, white, good, bad, right, wrong, or we can also, I choose to move through this awareness in neutrality until I feel righteous protection for another being. So these are just the filters that I've learned and apply.
That's a good
so that I can keep my head straight and my feet on the ground. Because if I'm floating away in the clouds like I did for a while, I can't really walk this spiritual path unless I have practical feet.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And finding a new way to accomplish the same goal is something that's really present for me, because again, I thought I needed to be the truther.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't know any absolute truths. I thought I knew. It was my perception. And so this unknowing, again, and being neutral as much as possible, and just coming from a place of curiosity and being able to give attention to the person that I'm with, and to hear people and to listen and to be that is a much more enjoyable space for me. And here's the thing. I like being shocking. I like being charismatic and being kind of polarizing to a degree. But I've realized that being neutral right now in the world that we're in is pretty damn polarizing.
Yeah.
And it's shocking. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I ran this experiment because I've had multiple accounts on Twitter. I've been kicked off for all of them.
Good for you.
Yeah, I know. And YouTube too. And now it's all stuff that you can talk about openly. So it's like,
yeah. Are you allowed back in now that it's x.com?
What now?
Are you allowed back in now that it's x.com, or are you forever?
No, I got kicked off of X already too, but I have another account. And so what I decided that I was going to try to do is, like, how can I enjoy myself on this platform, use it for a beneficial way that will move me towards my purpose, but also gain traction and attention and be able to have a following and conversation and dialogue, because Twitter sucks if you don't have engagement. Like, it's a pointless platform, but when you do get it, it's a very powerful tool. So how can I be that, not being the conspiracy guy, not being polarizing where I'm saying I'm MAGA or I'm liberal and not taking hard stances? How can you have success? And I've kind of started to find a new way, and I'm starting to see a way that people are responding to. And I think people really want to start having real conversations again. I think people are tired of the influencer. They're tired of the same niche-based content that's all the time. Like, I think people are looking for authenticity, well-rounded authenticity, not just the motivational guy, but somebody that's showing all sides of themselves. I think that we as a society are warming up to that. And I think it's a great time for this shift in attitude for myself and then what you're talking about. But I want to ask you, like, that journey just doesn't, you don't come out of the womb going, this is the way I'm going to live my life.
Well, I mean, I decided before I came through the womb what this life was going to be like. And so,
Okay.
so yeah, truth be told, do I really know the answers? No, but I also have had a lot of really fun experiences that have suggested that perhaps I chose this life exactly as it is with all these challenges, every single one of them, because there's something in particular that this soul incarnation needed to learn for the record of all things and my ancestors above, before and after me. So ancestry is both ahead and behind. And so anything that I fix for my experience and the people around me in this lifetime, I'm fixing for 7 generations. So these are more indigenous beliefs, that this is more around across the planet, thinking about ancestry in many different ways.
Well, and you think about generational curses and all that stuff, which I believe in that. Sins of the father, isn't that the same thing?
It's all the same thing. Yeah. It's just different language. We're all walking up the same mountain. And we're all going to get to the top and be like, I got here through math. Really? I got here through Hinduism. Really? I got here through plain old suffrage. I got here through God. So we're walking up the same mountain. There's different languages and frameworks for how.
You think everyone gets up the mountain?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think the people that deny the purpose in which they are created for and are completely lukewarm, so to speak, in life and really serving no purpose, you think that they make it up the top of the mountain? And I'm not challenging you, because I've never heard anyone say that before. So why would they? In other words, why would they deserve to get up the mountain when they wasted the time that they have on Earth?
Well, okay, so so think about a kaleidoscope, right? You're looking through that beautiful thing.
Sure.
And you see a beautiful point of view, and then you change it, and you're like, I just see we're looking at different colors and patterns. We're looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
And so our points of view are just like that. My point of view, I got a different color than you do. So in my point of view of life is this incarnation, this 120-year incarnation of my soul.
Sure.
I'm getting so far on the mountain. And the only point of getting to the top of the mountain is to get to the top of the mountain.
Interesting.
So if there's something to achieve, if there's a specific goal that I'm going for, because when I hit that goal, I'm at the top of the mountain. And let's say my goal is to, I don't know, everybody gets to choose the goal, to be a good Christian, to be a good Buddhist, to be a good father. When I'm this good thing, I'll have accomplished the top of the mountain. So everybody believes the mountaintop is different based off of their belief system. Who's to say what the top of the mountain really is? It's different for every being. And then, so in my belief system, what I've been taught is that the mountain is really big, and this incarnation of me is on the mountain for this long, and time is infinite. I've been here before, I may be here again. So even if in this lifetime I don't make it to the top of the mountain, whatever summiting means to me, whomever, eventually I will make it to the top. Is there even a top? So when I'm thinking really broadly with limitless thinking, how can I judge somebody for as far as they're able to get in this or any or all lifetimes? It's not my business.
Listen, it's a fair point. And I'm not saying I disagree with you. I have a hard time, and again, this could be my religious upbringing and indoctrination, but I have, because I think about who I respect and what earns my respect, and who the people that I get motivated to help. And the only group that I would turn, like I would have a hard time wanting to engage in a way of full servanthood, which is how I live my life. I live my life in service. I love to serve. It's what motivates me. But when I see people that are just wasting their life, not trying, not caring, and it's this thing that goes on, and then it is being passed down to their children and grandkids, and like I see that, and it eats me alive. And I guess it's more about me, and I get to examine this in my own life, but it bothers the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie, because I know people. I worked with complex disabilities for 18 years. I've seen suffering. I've been through suffering myself. I know what that's like, but I also know the same people that didn't quit, or that didn't let those circumstances, I mean, they overtake them for a moment, but then like just give up and just are just waiting to die. Like I have a hard time processing that is rewarded somehow. But again, you're not wrong. It's just different for me to hear that. But when I hear you say it, it sounds way more compassionate than how I feel. And like, I get to check myself on this. I want to understand what that is, because it is so foreign. And so I'm glad that you said that. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, it took me a while to get there. You know, I have my own story of people who didn't do great things to me too, you know, and so getting to a place of 100% forgiveness is an interesting path.
So I noticed that even with my dad, like there was levels to it. Like there was the first level that helped me start the healing process for myself. But over the years, I recognized new little things fall off. And now I'm in a place where I can see my father, who I hated, and go, I can only see what I'm grateful for now about him.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, you know, so again, like I believe that I chose my mother, I chose my sister, I chose my father. I chose all these people so that in this lifetime I could experience sovereignty and freedom and liberation. I could have very creative. I wouldn't have to have attachment and ties to family, so I could explore the world as it was. And what a gift, Mom. Thank you for being non-existent in my life. What a gift.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. And then there's days when I'm like, man, that was pretty shitty. What happened to me, you know? So they all exist equally. And when I look at, I'm 100% accountable and responsible for everything that happens to me in my lifetime. It's my point of view is the only thing that I can really control or judge. And so we're all mirrors for each other. And even if you think, if you look at scripture, and my mentors better, you know, quoting the actual like Bible verse than I am, but essentially at one point in time, Jesus said, I will turn mother against daughter. I will turn father against son. I will turn, like he said that. And the point is that to create the lesson that we need to learn, creating the disharmony so that we can overcome it, so that we can learn forgiveness, not be forgiven. None of us are here to be forgiven. We're here to learn forgiveness.
I resonate with that.
And you can't, and that, so in order for somebody to be forgiven for something, there must be something done to forgive. So that's the gift, is we get to learn to forgive and to let go and to become wholly accountable and responsible for everything that happens to us in our life. And judgments and criticism were rewarded for that as we grow up, or I was anyway. Judgments and criticism, I was modeled it by my parents. You know, being in corporate America, do you have good judgment and critical thinking skills? Why, yes, I do, right? But so what that created was separation and conflict. It doesn't, so, but then you think about like, well, what about Hitler? You know, that's that is a messed up being or thing. And it's hard to say this, and it's hard for me to swallow the pill. And we learned a lot through that, didn't we? It created a lot of change and something for us to do as humans to fix afterwards. So it gave us purpose, it gave us learning, and it gave us a lot of pain and sorrow and suffrage, and they all just exist.
Yeah, so I want to, you've kind of talked about some of the crap that you went through, and we don't have to go dive into that. Normally when people refer okay.
I don't care.
Normally when people refer to it as an overview, they don't want to go into it. And I used to be, in my previous broadcasts, I would pounce on that and go, oh, let's get into it. But I try to be respectful because I'm not trying to trigger people that don't want to be triggered. But like what I want to ask you, because I'm making the correlation and it's an assumption, but your coaching practice is not just pep talks. It's a mind, body, soul, whole body wellness. It's nutrition, it's health, mind, body, spirit. It's very, very well constructed. And anyone who would do that in their coaching program knows a well-rounded trauma or knows a well-rounded kind of abuse. So that means this is being modeled after your own recovery somehow. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, absolutely. Then let's call it a rebirth.
Okay, so let's get into your rebirth. What was it that happened in your life that triggered this awakening and rebirth for this path that you're on now?
Yeah. So I was in my early 40s, and I had the house, I had the job, I had the kids, I had the vacations, I had everything but happiness and confidence. And I got to really obsessed with, or maybe, okay, I'll call it obsessed with the body. You know, my perfect fat percentage, ketosis, and athleticism, and triathlete. And so I was overperforming in the career area and the body area. And the result of that is I got really, really sick. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating carbohydrates. I don't know. I wasn't sleeping and I wasn't eating carbohydrates. And so I crashed, and I was in my early 40s. I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 this year. And I had to leave my job on disability, and I couldn't get out of bed. And so I could do one thing per day. I could either take a shower or I could feed my kids. And so I was laying in bed, thinking about my life, and I'm really afraid. And I had gotten to the point where my panic attacks were so severe that I called the ambulance a couple times from work, from home. I would just be laying there and I would feel fine. And all of a sudden my heart rate is like at 180, just from 0 to 180. And what I learned, at first I looked fine on the outside. So I go to doctors and be like, are you okay? Is your husband okay? Do you feel safe at home? So they immediately, I got categorized immediately as I'm not sure what, but they didn't address what was going on the inside of my body or within my mind or my spirit. They're just like, does your husband beat you? And I'm like, no, have you met me? Like, my husband is afraid of me, you know? So what I learned is that I had parasites, I had leaky gut, I had recurring mono, and I had a whole bunch of imbalances in my hormones. And so I learned every aspect of the body that I could, and I learned it outside of traditional medicine, because traditional medicine wasn't going to solve my problems. There's no pill for autoimmunity. There's no pill for anxiety. There's no pill for leaky gut. That is just good old fashioned relax, eat well, fix your gut. And so I mastered food as medicine. And also I did some alternative work with like peptides and high dose vitamin C. And so I spent all my money, all this money that I'm working for in the corporate world, I'm now investing and repairing my body, that I destructed my body to get that money. So and then I start to see this loop or the cycle of, okay, well, I'm working so I can afford experimental medical care. That makes no sense. So I learned that Western medicine didn't have the answers. It was up to me to own my healing journey. And so I did that. And I finally found a doctor that could test and diagnose, but he didn't know how to fix everything. He helped me with the parasites. And I did rounds and rounds of antibiotics, which messed up my microbiome. So I became a gut health expert. I learned a whole bunch of stuff about nutrition. And then I started meditating and I learned about mindfulness. So when I went back to work, I started learning all those things and getting certified during my day job. So I have this really nice, corporate job, and I'm leading people and leading teams, multi-million-dollar projects, and I'm getting certifications on the side. So that was the first phase of my, rebirth, was my body. I rebuilt my body at the cellular level, at the level of my mitochondria, over 5 years. And so it takes that much time to rebuild everything. And I did it, right? So then I'll just stop there. But that was phase one, was redevelop your body 100%.
You don't need to stop. I'm listening to this going, okay, how soon can I hire her as my coach?
Yeah. I did all the hard, so I'm a triath, I have pride in having completed triathlons, endurance athlete. And so I always took that drive to everything I did. I balanced things. I don't know if that's true, but I'm more gentle. I do things that serve me and the community well better now with my drive. So I learned everything I could. I got certified in 5 different things, and because I did it experientially and learned it on my own, and I realized this is the true medicine. This is the medicine. This is lifestyle. It's thoughts, words, actions, and it's the food that you eat, and it's the activities that you have, and it's the way that you relate to other human beings. That's the medicine that keeps you out of sick, and that will recover you from sick and not just give you symptomatic health.
This is probably a cliche question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it popped in my head and it does seem appropriate. What do you say to the people that say, I can't afford to eat healthy?
Well, some people can't afford to eat healthy. That's a tricky one.
Thing?
Yeah, I mean, there are, a part of my mission has been to, I went through a period of time of having no money on purpose. I chose it because I wanted to see what it was like to be in a lower income category. So I had a period of time where I was divorcing and all my assets were frozen and I had quit my job, and I couldn't be a health coach at that time because I was such a mess. And so what that meant was I didn't have any income. And so I did things like go to food banks. I hung out with people that didn't have very much money. I lived in community, and so what I learned is, and everything worked out fine for me. I ended up living on in Hawaii, and I worked on a meditation center, and I did work trade. So I was able to, and I'm getting fed organic foods, natural sun. So I was, that's what I chose to do in my poorness. I had the richest life you could possibly imagine. But I met a lot of people who were in very dire straits. And then I also do work in my community for people who are poor. And when you are on food stamps, you are looking at the cheapest food that you can possibly buy, and it's usually processed. If you receive, when you go to the food bank, the fresh, depending on where you are in the country, fresh fruits and vegetables are slim pickings.
Yeah.
And it's more affordable to buy the processed food, and it's a part of our broken system. It's just feeding itself to have the high reliance on processed food because it's low cost. And then we're subsidizing farmers that are making wheat, corn, and soy with, antibiotics and poison, basically. Like our whole food chain in America is set up for survival of this system, the supply chain, which leads to dependence on medical care, sick people. Like it exists. This is a part of the darkness. It's real and it exists. So you really, if you're in the marginalized group, you have to be heroic to eat healthy. Like, you have to have education, you have to have access. If you live in a city, how are you going to go to a farmer's market?
Yeah.
So there are some people, it's very difficult, and we need to fix that problem. And it's a part of the fabric of America, and it's got to change. So some people it's just an excuse, because it's just an excuse, and that's okay. You know, it's a part of the path to realizing. And a lot of people, they just wait, and this is my hope that this doesn't happen, but some people do wait until they're in a crisis before they change. And my hope is that doesn't happen.
Yeah, the warnings get louder, but they get louder because you have less time. And what I mean by that is your body will tell you like something's going on. And
oh yeah,
heart murmur, your waistline, it's harder to get out of bed in the morning. I mean, there's so many different things, but like if we ignore those signs, life comes pretty fast, and it can hurt. It can be painful. I'm grateful that you answered that question the way that you did. I wasn't expecting you to answer it that way. So I love that answer, because it was thoughtful, and it was also very, very honest. Because it is true. Like, yeah, you can't go get a lot of fresh, healthy items from the store because it benefits you, but you can go, they will allow you to buy the prepackaged thing. And it doesn't make much sense. But at the same time, you brought up food stamps. You'll have some people that use their food stamps. They'll use them to buy 24 packs of Mountain Dew and Doritos and things like that. And so people see that optically and go, oh, well, you're on food stamps. Like, why should we help you? But yet the other side of it, which is really the side that we should pay attention to the most, which is finding ways to encourage healthier, not just healthier diets, but also these programs to push healthier food, especially to our kids.
Well, then that's the part that I do get pissed off about. Is like, we should not have children with type 2 diabetes by the age of 9.
Amen.
That is not right. It's wrong, and it needs to stop. Period. So I no longer accept that that's a part of our reality. It's not a part of my universe, and I will do everything I can to change that. And it's got to start with pregnant mothers. So ideally, when women are pregnant in other countries, we get tons of support when you're pregnant and you have a baby. You're supported with a person who helps you nurse. You get pelvic floor care. You don't have to go directly right back to work. But, you know, we do live in a materialistic country. It's everything that our society is based off of is materialism and capitalism. Segments of it are changing. It will change. It is changing. And we're also up against this big mammoth of, there's quite an entanglement that exists. So yeah, the children should be the focus, because we can help improve the life of somebody who's on their way to the end of life. Where we're really going to change the game is when mothers are pregnant, making sure that they have healthy support, that they have good nutrition, they're supported to be a pregnant mother. They're treated as a divine being of light and a goddess, and they can have a calm, healthy birth. Like, this is where it begins. So we really need to focus on pregnant mothers and supporting younger children and early mothers as much as possible. And we just, you know, I've seen a lot that suggests we're nowhere near close to that.
Yeah, we really are. So tell everybody a little bit about your coaching philosophy. I know we went over it a little bit. But share, like, if I'm looking for a coach, like, what's the ideal person that you love to work with?
Yeah. Well, here's the good news and the bad news. I can help so many people. So I do mind, body, and spirit. And so we do an assessment to see what is really your leading issue right now. So I meet people where they're at. And so with my gut health experience, I can really help somebody overhaul their gut. So if somebody's really in dishealth or in disease, has autoimmune disease, that's one of my specialties. I would, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that. I also absolutely love working with executives and senior leaders, because they can save a lot of money for their company if their mind and their spirit is aligned right with their health. I did some just, decent back of the napkin math. And if a leader has 100 people reporting to them, they're looking at $3 million a year in lost efficiency gain if they're not on the top of their game.
$3 million is a lot of money.
I know. Yeah. And also corporations, corporate America, they have a really big footprint and impact on the American and the global society. So because a lot of people, they go to work to see their family, and they spend more time at work than they do at home. And so whatever belief system or organizational design they're in at work, they bring that home with them.
True. Yeah.
And so I think it's just, I have a very strong passion as well for top leaders and organizations, so that they can be of the highest consciousness possible, focused on the greater good, because of all of the people that will affect. And it doesn't just affect the people and their efficiency, it also affects their end product. So if you've got a leader that's low vibration, you're going to have a low vibration company and a low vibration product. I want high vibe. I want high vibe for the universe. So I love to work with highly intelligent, super open, consciously aware, like Joe Dispenza types, because we can do, there's so much fun to be had with that, and limitless potential and limitless thinking. One of my clients right now, she's obsessed with AI and she wants to automate herself. So she's got her day job, she's got her vision of being CIO Barbie, and then she's got her passive income ideas, and really watching her go from like, I don't want to work for the man anymore, to like, I'm going to make working for the man work for me. So she's really looking at her job to help pay for her creating her passive. So for her, we're looking at her excitement and alignment, and making sure that she's having her best life no matter where she is. And so we don't need to worry about the body. She's already got that figured out. She already understands mindfulness and consciousness. And so we get to really help her reach some exciting heights, and whatever she's going to create with artificial intelligence is going to be good for the world, because she's focused on morals and values and greater good outcomes. And so I love that.
We're very connected in that alternate universe. My partner Jessica, her project, like, we're one of the first platforms that will be live there, and I can tell you, there's a lot of people have a lot of fear about that other world, but I can tell you right now, what I'm seeing is a bunch of people that just want to make things fair, that want to even the playing field, give people an equal opportunity. They want things on the up and up. Like, I'm encouraged by it, and the people that I'm seeing in that world that she's connecting with and talking to, let's just put it this way, because I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to do that. It's really encouraging to me to see these people lead the charge, because they do have so much influence. And so to hear them talk about fairness and equal opportunity and authenticity, it's encouraging and it excites me. Like, I'm very, very excited for the future.
Yeah, they all exist. They all exist. And trust me, there is domination, manipulation, and control equally. And so I think, like you, it's like the more of the good guys that we have, we'll have a higher intelligence overall and higher use of it. I think the possibility that I'm the most excited about with the next versions of what we're doing is that, and I think this will resonate for you, is, my content, most of it I don't own. So I spend all this money on marketing and advertisement and sharing my message, and I don't own any of it. So somebody else does, like the Facebook machine. You know, it's like a slot machine. Every time you're like, maybe this will pay off, and you're just putting your money in the slot machine, and everybody has this exchange of energy, and it's highs and lows, and it's like, but what is the end output? What is the end output of that? And it's like, oh, I'm paying all this money for somebody else to own my stuff and decide how much of it people get to hear. I get censored all the time. My algorithm sucks. I have 6,000 followers, 200 people see my stuff. What's that about? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And so with the new, you know, hopefully with the new versions of the web and with artificial intelligence and decentralizing money, sovereignty, freedom, and liberation for all. Let's get paid for our time, guys, instead of paying to give away our information and our time.
Oh,
so
my.
I'm with you.
Oh, well, that is my central message that I preach about self-hosting and owning your likeness.
Yeah.
I was very blessed in college to get to learn from Master P, the founder of No Limit Records, and in learning his approach to the entertainment industry or to the record business. I took that for media and everything. And even though I do put content on other platforms, I've been self-hosting for several years, and my audience is bigger self-hosting than it's ever been on social media. And I'm grateful for that because it took a lot of work, but I can say whatever. Now, if I'm on YouTube, I got to play by their rules. They own the platform.
They own the platform.
I can complain about it all I want because I've been kicked off 3 times. But it's their damn rules. They get to make those rules. On my platform, I can say whatever I want. And because of that, I can suffer whatever consequences come to me.
Yeah, that's true.
But if I'm on someone else's yard, guess what? I'm going to play by their rules. That's the way it should be, because I would want someone to respect my rules on my property. So I love that you went there, because I do believe that's the future. I read this book. Have you ever heard of Neothink?
Does it have to do something like the Matrix and think like Neo, or
No,
okay.
It's a book. It's like this.
No,
it's a children's story.
Wow.
But it's the secret of life book wrapped into a children's story that is, I'm not kidding, it's this thick. It's bigger than the Bible, and bigger than like in one of those old 1800 Bibles. It's massive. But that book it's so powerful. It was written in the early 80s, but in that book there's a quote, and it says, "The power that lies in the hands of a few will be distributed into the hands of millions." And it's talking about media and media in the future. And now is that time where we're going. It's not alternative media. It's not mainstream media. It's independent media. That's the future. And that is the opportunity that we all have. And here's the thing. It's not just, it's not limited to who it's for. It's for everyone. So it's kind of like we can't really survive without the internet. I guess I mean, we could, but we don't want to survive without the internet. That's going to be what media is in like the near future. And here's the other thing. It's not just because it's available. We're going to need to be media because it's practical, because in media resides multiple revenue streams. And we're going to need every bit of those revenue streams moving forward. That is just my personal belief in what I've studied my whole life and what I prepared for when everyone else was doing nothing during COVID.
Yeah, and there's more too, though. So I'm always coming from the lens of what's the greater good for all of humanity. And yeah, I would love to make income too. But really, what do I care about more? The greater good for the outcome of all humanity, genuinely. And so what I've learned about the future of data, there's a train going by. Can you hear it? No? Okay, there's a train going by.
Oh, because I normally have a train going by on my side too.
Yeah. So here's what matters more to me is that, and when we look at truth and reliable data, way back when we would telepathically communicate, like 20,000 years ago, whatever. We didn't need words. We would just like zoom, or like Care Bears. And then we devolved. We devolved, and then we grunted. We made some hand signals, and then eventually we started making pictures in stones. And then we found paper and we started writing stuff down. And then we had books and tapes and all sorts of electronic like records that were physical. Now everything's going to the cloud. Everything is in some sort of light speed communication transformation form. It can be altered. It can be stolen. It can be replaced. And so when we look at the integrity of media, it's more important that it is the truth. And then again, what is the truth? Right? But then again, what is the truth as somebody remembers it? Or so because that's what I actually care about more.
No, and you should. And that's what is going to shift it is truth. It's yeah, the opportunities are there. Yeah, the revenue streams are there. But ultimately, to me, what makes it special is that media gives us the opportunity to use our gifts, our talents, and intellectual property to make a life for ourselves. And that is the fun part about it. And it is exciting because it gives each of us, regardless of our education, regardless of how much money we have, regardless of our religion or sexuality, and on and on and on, it gives us all an equal opportunity because we get to use what was given to us at birth or even before then, which I believe are our gifts and talents. And then life gives us our intellectual property. You find a way to package that together, you can have a pretty exciting life. At least that's what I've seen with my students and what I've seen in my own life, because it's not like I can go get a job. Every job application I filled out, I have to put that I'm disabled. And then if people want to know what my disability is, well, that's a fun conversation to have to explain, and so I've had these limiting things, but with media, not only has it been my ticket for freedom, it's been my vehicle for my dreams to come true also. And why I'm passionate about teaching media is because I want to help the people from the place I came from realize the same thing. And I that's what excites me about this future. But as you were saying, there's so much more to it, fairness and kindness and honesty. But what is truth really? Do we even really know? So these are all interesting things. But I love the fact that, like, gosh, you seem like you would just be such a great coach to have, especially for someone that is a seeker, for someone that is ambitious and is challenged. They love challenges. And yet at the same time, probably doesn't want someone to just tell them what they want to hear. And for someone that's truly looking to level up, like you seem like that coach. Like I dig this about you. Like I feel this. And here's the other thing. I'll tell you what I told my last coach. The other reason why I know you would be a good coach is because I'm scared of you. And when I say that, I mean that in a very respectful way. In other words, I know you wouldn't back down to me. I know that you would call me on my crap. And that's what I want in a coach.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that. And it's like, I didn't pay you to say these nice things about me. Thank you so much. This is awesome. So I mean, I'm here for transformation. And that's why I was put on this earth. And I was initially playing with that and experimenting with that for somebody else's company or product or so I was gifted this broad skill set of transformation and change at a like a pedigree level. But humans are humans and everybody needs a different approach. So there are some people where I'm more of a Buddhist, and because that's what they need and that's what's going to motivate them to change, and self-discovery is a big part of that. And some people just need to be told the truth, and so reading somebody's personality type and how they're motivated is super critical. I spend at least 90 minutes. I mean, my clients, we start with a pretty broad question form and intake, and a solid 90 minutes at least, just talking through their belief system, their motivation, their behaviors, their life story. And if I don't do that in the beginning, we're not, and we don't have agreements for how we're going to work together and check in continually. Every session I ask, did you get what you needed today? Do you have any feedback for me? And so that's a really, it's a co-creation. It's a co-creation. I'm not an authority. I'm a co-creator of somebody else's highest reality. And that could be through the mind or the body or the spirit, depending on where they're at right now. And then it might shift next week too. So no shame, blame, or guilt, 100% accountable, helping anybody instead of slogging through the mud, walking from California to New York. We get to hop on a jet plane together and decide where you're going to go next.
I love that. Reneee, you're awesome. I'm so glad that we did this. I would love to have you back sometime, but I would love for you to take these last few moments to share any last words that you have, anything that's on your heart that you want to share. Pretend I'm not here. And then also plug where people can buy your books. They can go to your website, hire you as a coach, and support your journey.
Yeah, I think if whatever it is you're trying to do out there, you don't have to do it alone. And you're not supposed to do it alone. We came to this earth to create with and for each other. And asking for help is the biggest, most courageous thing that you could ever do. And looking at yourself and growing. So I think that's just really important for people to understand, is like, you don't have to do the journey alone. You have a lot more fun when you do it with somebody else. So you can find me at my website, which is www.healthyinspiredyou.com. I'm on all the social media platforms. I just recently got on X. I haven't figured X out yet, but Reneee Andreasen, Andreasen. And I do a mix of a couple different things. I do my one-on-one VIP coaching. I'll do gut health journeys. It takes about 90 days for gut health journeys. I usually coach VIP for 6 months, and I have a mix of mindfulness coaching. We go through all of it because, like I said, I'm in the business of transformation. And then I also do a partnership with my Hawaiian teacher, and we teach Ho'oponopono, which is forgiveness. So I've been really gifted to have some really high caliber mentors and indigenous belief systems, and is a gift that I've been able to tap into, and I want to bring more of that to the world. It's the original medicine and how to have good humility and to have a good humanity. So those are kind of the three things I do: co-create with Kahu on Ho'oponopono, do my VIP coaching, and I have a process that'll fix somebody's gut within 90 days.
Love it. And gut health is incredibly important right now. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me talk about this before on other broadcasts, but right now with what they're putting in foods and the preservatives that they're putting in drinks and food and makeup and everything else, like, it is not only destroying your gut bacteria, it's shutting down your endocrine system, and it's just a lot of ugly things. And I know this for my own. I'm on my own gut health journey and trying to repair my gut, and it's awful. Like, it really does require a coach, I think. I mean, I have incredible discipline, but this is an area that I need help in. And so I consider this very timely, but also, again, I know I'm not the only one. Like, just talking to people, everyone in my town, you can't walk 5 feet without someone trying to talk to you. It's just it's an amazing place. So you hear about what's going on with people, and this gut health issue is everywhere. Everyone's struggling with it in some variety. So that's another reason to reach out to Reneee, because that's a major issue, but there's other things too. I love what you're about, Reneee. I love that you stand strong in your truth and what you believe, but yet can have an amazing conversation, even if it is not necessarily in alignment perfectly. Like, I love that about you. Love your way of being. I love your strength. And I love this approach you take to coaching. I'm friends with a bunch of coaches. I lived in San Diego. Everyone's a coach in San Diego. And but they all like focus on one thing that seems so trivial. And it's kind of like, why would you eat half-baked bread? I want the whole loaf with all the great ingredients, and that's what you're offering to the world. So I highly recommend you, Reneee. Thank you for being here. God bless you. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Joshua. You're a gem. This has been great. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. See you soon.
All right.